computer. All right. Welcome to the third part of our 5-week virtual parent-child workshop. Every Monday this month at 10 a.m. will be a new parenting topic with guest speakers. This initiative was funded with a grant by the Institute of Museums and Library Services and the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. 2018, our library began the process of becoming a member of the Family Place Libraries National Network. We do ask that you fill out a survey before this program, and at the end of the 5 weeks, these will be available in our chat and at the end of the meeting, or by emailing sdenbo@cityofbaycity.org. You can turn these in at the library or email them back. I am Samantha Denbo, the library director for the Bay City Public Library. Today, we have Ashley Dana with the Crisis Center here to share information about nutrition for your children, which is perfect since it's National Nutrition Month. And we'll have time at the end of the presentation for questions. So Ashley, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
If I can figure that out.
I'm going to share mine, and if you'll give me just 1 second, I will get this going.
I'm still working on it.
All right. So hello and welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to learn about your child's nutrition. Today we're going to cover some of the basic topics of child nutrition. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or type them in the chat box, and I would be happy to answer those for you or to find you those answers. So I wanted to start today by introducing myself. My name is Ashley Dana, and I'm a forensic interviewer, community outreach specialist at the Crisis Center here in Bay City, Texas. The Crisis Center serves Matagorda and Wharton counties with our main office in Bay City, Texas. We provide many different services, including, but not limited to, a family violence program, a sexual assault program, a children's advocacy center, and various outreach events. On the screen, you'll see some of our contact information if you have any questions or comments about the presentation or about any of our other services. So let's talk about child nutrition and what exactly is nutrition. Nutrition is the study of food and how it works in your body. It includes all the stuff that's in your food, like vitamins and proteins. And that's why it's so important to eat a variety of foods so that you have what you need to fuel yours and your child's body, and everyone stays healthy. When we put good things into our body, we get good things out of our body. So some of you might ask, why is nutrition so important to my child? And there are many different reasons why nutrition is important. Some of those include it helps your child grow and develop into healthy and strong adults. It's essential to brain growth, especially in the first year of life. This is the time that your child develops and grows the most. A child's brain will double in size in the first year. It can also help fight off infections and diseases. Malnutrition, or a diet lacking in one or more of the nutrients, can impair the production and activity of immune cells and antibodies. And establishing those healthy eating habits at a young age can set your child up for successful eating in the future. So today I want to focus on what is nutritious, or why we need certain things. What are the foods that help our body grow and develop properly also. So the big concept, and what do I want you to be able to take away from this presentation, today we're going to focus on dietary guidelines or dietary recommendations for children and how to achieve those guidelines and make sure that it's fun and functional for your family. I do want to put a disclaimer out. All the information can be found in the dietary guidelines for Americans for 2020 to 2025, and you should consult with your child's pediatrician for specific information and any changes you choose to make regarding your child's diet. So let's start with infants and toddlers. Children in this age group eat small quantities of food at a time. So it's really important that we make every bite count. Infants are from birth to 6 months old. During this period in life, they should only be fed human milk or iron-fortified infant formula. It's also recommended to provide infants with vitamin D supplements soon after birth. Usually around 6 months old, you can begin introducing nutrient-dense complementary foods. So foods that's full of nutrients and along with human milk or formula. Signs that your infant might be ready for complementary foods include being able to control their head or neck. They sit up alone or with support. They're bringing objects to their mouth. They're trying to grasp small objects like toys or food. And they're swallowing food rather than pushing it back out with their tongue. So introducing infants to potentially allergenic foods along with other complementary foods like peanuts, eggs, cow's milk product, tree nuts, wheat, fish, and soy are important, but make sure when you introduce those that you're only introducing one of those foods at a time. And encourage infants and toddlers to consume a variety of foods from all of the food groups. And we'll talk a little bit more about food groups later. So while variety is important, foods containing raw or cooked honey and unpasteurized foods or beverages such as unpasteurized cheese, milk, yogurt, and juices, milk, yogurt, and cheeses, should not be consumed by infants. So anything that's unpasteurized or contains honey should not be fed to infants. So we want to make sure that we're including foods rich in iron, zinc, particularly for infants fed human milk. And those can be found on your food or your drink labels. And we also want to avoid or try to limit foods and beverages with added sugars and are higher in sodium. And you can also see if there's added sugars or the amount of sodium on the food labels. And I just want to put out another reminder. Foods such as hot dogs, candy, nuts and seeds, raw carrots, grapes, popcorn, and chunks of peanut butter are some foods that can be choking risk for young children. So if you are going to feed your child those, make sure that you're monitoring and you're dicing those up super tiny for infants. So now let's talk a little bit about toddlers. At about age 2 or 2 years of age, children begin switching from a diet consisting primarily of human milk or formula to food as a source of energy. So which can include things like nutrient-dense fruits, vegetables, grains, protein foods like lean meats, poultry, eggs, seafood, nuts, and seeds, and dairy, which includes your milk, yogurt, and your cheeses, along with small amounts of oils. So some examples would include like your cereal, like Cheerios, so those types of things, canned or fresh fruits, roasted vegetables instead of frying them, lean meats, not processed meats like lunch meats, things like that, and unsweetened drinks like milk or 100% apple juice. And if you need to, you can also dilute that with water. And you want to make sure that your child is receiving a good variety at each meal. So exposure to a variety often leads to the increased likelihood that they will accept those different foods. So what would be like an example of this? So an example breakfast could include Cheerios with whole milk, sliced strawberries, and then avocado and ground sausage. That would be a meal that includes everything from your different food groups. So parents, guardians, and caregivers play an important role in nutrition during the first stage of life because infants and toddlers are fully reliant on them. In addition to what to feed children, how to feed children is also critical. As noted above, repeated exposure to foods can increase acceptance of new foods. And another important concept is responsive feeding. So a feeding style that emphasizes recognizing and responding to hunger or fullness cues of an infant or a young child. So responsive feeding is just that. It's acting on the responses from your child that they're hungry. It helps your child learn to self-regulate their intake. Some signs include reaching or pointing to food, opening their mouth when they're offered food, or closing and turning their head when they're done, using hand motions or sounds to let you know that they are still hungry or that they're done eating. So now I want to talk a little bit more about a balanced diet. So the picture shows the current recommendations on how to fill your plate. And this is for toddlers, which are 12 months through 23 months. And the recommended calorie intake is between 700 and 1,000 calories a day. And if you want, you can go to this website down here where the calculator is and type in your child's information, and you would be able to figure out your child's specific calorie intake. So for a child that needs 700 calories a day, they would need 2/3 cups of vegetables, 1/2 cup of fruit, 1 3/4 cups of grain, 1 2/3 cups of dairy, 2 ounces of protein, and 9 grams of oil daily. And you can see in the chart a breakdown of how much each type to consume each week also. So for example, we would want 1 cup of dark green vegetables each week for a calorie intake of 700. So in early childhood, which is ages 2 through 4, females require about 1,000 to 1,400 calories per day, and males require between 1,000 and 1,600 calories per day. And we're at the transition to school age, which is ages 5 through 8. Females require about 1,200 to 1,800 calories a day, and males require 1,200 to 2,000 calories per day. And then in late childhood and adolescence, which is ages 9 through 13 years old, females require between 1,400 and 2,200 calories daily, and males require between 1,600 and 2,600 calories daily. And then also in the other picture, it shows you a little bit about the serving size of your fruits, grains, vegetables, things like that. And then late adolescence, children age 14 through 18, females require between 1,800 and 2,400 calories per day, and males require about 2,000 to 3,200 calories per day. So why do we want to eat fruits? Fruits are packed full of nutrients like vitamins and minerals, and they can also be a great source of fiber, which can help prevent constipation and promotes a healthy digestive system. Also, kind of like vegetables, you can feel good about giving your child a variety of fruits. So it can include like fresh fruits, canned fruits and their own juices, as long as we don't have any of those added sugars, or even dried fruit, or even 100% fruit juice. Those are all really great options. So some suggestions that may help you include a little bit more in your child's diet would make like a fruit kebab for your child. At this age, kids like things that are like finger food. So, pulling it off of a kebab might be interesting to them. Or a smoothie, and you can put fruit and yogurt in that. Or maybe even cutting your fruits into different shapes, something that's attractive to the eye. And then with all of these, being a good role model. So making sure that you're eating your recommended amounts also, so that you're setting that example for your child. So vegetables. Why are vegetables important? Vegetables are packed full of vitamins and minerals and are low in calories. So they're the healthy form of carbohydrates and are low in fat, have low sodium and low cholesterol. And they are a must in every toddler and preschooler's diet and should be consumed plentiful by all kids and adults too. Because of the health benefits of fruits and vegetables, it's recommended that fruits and vegetables make up half of your plate. And you may not know, but it's okay to eat canned or frozen vegetables. They don't always have to be fresh. You can buy canned vegetables with no salt added, or you can rinse your vegetables before you cook them. Plain frozen vegetables without any other sauces are also another great option. So some of the ways that you can include veggies would be letting your child pick out what vegetable they want at the grocery store, or offering a cup of veggies as a snack and something that they can dip it in, like a yogurt dip or something like that. And then, of course, as always, making sure that we're being a good role model and we're also eating those vegetables. And it's important that you guys don't give up. It can take your child several times of trying a food before they like something. And just because they like cauliflower today doesn't mean that they will like it tomorrow. And also remember that Different foods taste different when they're cooked versus raw. So you can try them both ways. Maybe cook it one night, have it raw the next, and try to keep offering those. So grains, let's talk a little bit about grains. Whole grains are packed with nutrients, including protein, fiber, B vitamins, antioxidants, and trace minerals like iron, zinc, copper, and magnesium. For young children, fiber is important to prevent the common problems of constipation. It has even been shown to reduce the risk of some chronic diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. For all of these reasons, it's recommended that half of the grains you eat be whole grains. A few of the ways that you can include whole grains are making like an English muffin pizza for lunch. So you use a whole wheat English muffin, put a little bit of tomato sauce, low-fat mozzarella cheese, and you can put some pepperonis on there or like hamburger meat for your protein, and you have a nice healthy little lunch. And who doesn't like pizza? You could do like low-fat cheese with a whole grain cracker or a yogurt topped with fruit and granola. A lot of those are easy ways to give quality snacks to kids, like cereal, things like that. Protein. So why do we eat proteins? Protein is known as the body's building blocks, and it's essential for growth and development of toddlers and preschoolers. Dietary protein comes from animal sources, such as meats, fish, poultry, and eggs, as well as plant sources, which include dried beans, peas, and nuts. Leaner cuts of meats are recommended to be served to children because they're easier to chew. And also, it's recommended to consume more fish since it's a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. Although it's not found in the protein group, we also get protein from dairy foods like milk, yogurt, and cheese, and moderate amounts from vegetables and grains too. And it's normal for kids to be sensitive to various textures, including meat, at an early age. So ground turkey or beef is always a good start. Some kids like meat separate from their food on their plates, and some like the meat to be mixed in with their food. So you can try serving it different ways too. Children at this age, as we talked about earlier, love finger foods. Chicken tenders, fish sticks, things like that make really great choices. And if you want to make it a little bit healthier, you can always make those on your own. So dairy. Why do we eat dairy? Consuming enough dairy products is necessary to build strong bones and teeth and can help prevent cavities. Some dairy products contain probiotics, which enhance the good bacteria in the intestinal tract, which improves health and reduces the risk of certain diseases. Good sources of dairy products are milk and foods made from milk, such as yogurt or cheeses. It's also recommended that people age 2 and older drink fat-free or low-fat, which is the 1% milk, as it has the same nutrients as whole milk, just with less fats and calories. Calcium-fortified soy milk is also part of the dairy group and is an option if your child is lactose intolerant, along with lactose-reduced milks. Most children with lactose intolerance can tolerate a small amount with a meal and generally tolerate yogurt and cheese well because of the live and active cultures in those yogurt and cheeses help digest the lactose. And there are several ways that dairy products can be added to your diet, like fixing fruit with yogurt or like low-fat cheeses with the crackers that we talked about earlier, or making different dips or even a smoothie like before. So you can add in your dairy along with your fruit or your vegetables or something like that. So the next slides are like the current intakes of children. So this first one is the ages 2 through 4. And as you can see, we're not doing 100%, but this is one of the higher scoring categories at 61%. And below, although we're below on some of the amounts of vegetables and dairies for males and females, we're right in the middle for fruits. We're doing okay for grains for males, but we have a little work to do for some females, and then we're slightly low on proteins for male and females. This age also exceeds the recommended amount of added sugar, saturated fat, and sodium by quite a bit in both male and females. And this is the current intakes of children ages 5 through 8. So we're still okay on the overall score with 55%, but we score low for both male and female on the amount of total vegetables, fruit, and dairy. And this age is doing above average on the total grains in both male and female, but a little below average in proteins. And then again, we exceed all the amounts of added sugar, saturated fat, and sodium. So this age is our 9 through 13-year-olds. Their overall score was 52% on the healthy eating index, and which is a little low, but we're working on it. So we're below recommended intake on vegetables, dairy, and proteins for both male and female. Grain intake is okay for males and above recommended intake for females. And again, we exceed the limits of added sugars, saturated fats, and sodium. And lastly, we have age 14 through 18. The overall score on the healthy eating index was at 51%, and this age group is below the recommended intake in vegetables, fruits, and dairy in both males and females. The grains are okay in both males and females, even though the female are on the lower end. And for proteins, males are on track while females are low. And again, we're above all of the limits for added sugar, saturated fat, and sodium. So some of you may have said, well, what if my child's a picky eater? Picky eating is typical for many preschoolers as they grow up and they try to become more independent. So some of the following tips may be able to help you with this behavior in a positive way. So your preschooler may not eat the exact amount suggested every day. So try to balance the amount out over a few days or over the week. Offer different foods from day to day. So encouraging your child to choose which foods that they like might help them a little bit with their picky eating. And serve foods in small portions at scheduled meals and snacks. So not overloading their plate, maybe a piece or two here, letting them try, oh, I like that, that's really good, and then giving them the rest of the serving amount. And then letting your child help you in preparing their meals. Sometimes when they are helping prepare and they're getting to help in the kitchen, they get excited and they want to taste the item beforehand, or, oh, you got to stir that in. Remember, you should try that. You got to cook that meal, and encourage them along while you're preparing the meal. So this is just a little like recommended what you could serve for like your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 4 and 5-year-old, what counts for your fruit, vegetable, grain, protein, dairy, things like that. So childhood and adolescence is a critical period for developing movement skills, learning healthy habits, and establishing a firm foundation for lifelong health and well-being. For youth, regular physical activity can improve bone health, cardiorespiratory and muscle fitness, and cognitive, which includes your academic achievement. And it can also reduce the symptoms of depression. So preschool age children should be active throughout the day to enhance growth and development. Adults caring for children during this age should encourage active play that includes a variety of different types, like light, moderate, and vigorous intensity, and aim for at least 3 hours a day. School-age children and adolescents need at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity daily to attain the most health benefits from physical activity. So most activity can be like aerobic, walking, running, or anything that makes your heart beat faster. But they also need muscle strengthening and bone strengthening activities to make their muscles and bones strong, like climbing on the playground, playing basketball, or jumping rope, some examples. So this one's kind of not surprising, but surprising in a way. Your child will have eaten 8,760 meals and thousands more snacks by the time they turn 9 years old. So that's a lot of meals and a lot of growing. So we want to make sure that we fill our children with good things that help them grow into happy, healthy, and strong adults. And I wanted to give you all a little bit of information on resources and places that you can go to find if you're needing any type of assistance with food. So we have our WIC program. There's an office located in Bay City, and there's also the SNAP program, which is federally funded. There is a Harvest House here in Bay City and a phone number if you need to contact them. Discovery Life Church and First United Methodist Church also have food pantry programs if you are needing assistance there, along with the Economic Action Committee of the Gulf Coast. And if anyone needs me to share that information, I'll put my contact information back up again, and you can always reach out. And then I wanted to give you some different apps. I know pretty much everybody, our kids like playing with technology. And so these are some of the apps that can encourage your child to move or get excited about nutrition, or the Tiny Taste is a character that will taste, you'll take a picture of your food, the character tastes it and says, "Ooh, yum," kind of encourages your child to taste it like she did. There's one where it talks about learning fruits and vegetables that can help your child recognize, like, this is an orange and this is an apple, and things like that. Just some things to get them excited about nutrition. And I wanted to give credit to where I got a lot of the information for this presentation today. So if you're wondering, like, why this calorie intake, or why should I have this much fruits or this much vegetables, that can all be found on the dietary guidelines. And there's the link in there. And then some of the information was found on eatright.org also. So I want to thank you guys for sticking with me today, and give you a chance if you had any questions, comments, concerns, or you wanted to reach out to us. You can find us on our Facebook at the Crisis Center, or you can email us at outreach@crisiscnt.com if you wanted some information that we shared today, or some of the resources, or you can't find the apps, or whatever it is, you have questions about some of the programs that we offer at the Crisis Center. Whatever it may be, that's our contact information for you. And I wanted to thank you guys again today for listening in, and I hope you learned something.
All right, well, that would conclude our program for today. Next Monday, we will be joined by ECI to talk about speech and language and child development. If you have any questions for Ashley, she's put up her information. She will also be back on March 22nd. Is that right? 23rd?
I think it's 23rd.
23rd, to present here at the library about the Crisis Center and all of the programs they offer. And then hopefully in the fall, we will be back to offering these workshops in person, where you can bring your children in to play and interact with our specialists in person. And that is it for today.